Hello, this is the video for Algebra B's review. It covers questions from the first page. So the first question asks you to label a few different things on the coordinate plane. One of the main things that you need to know is which is the x and which is the y axis. So the x axis is the one that runs horizontal, and the y axis runs vertical, so up and down. The next thing you're asked to label is the origin. Origin means the center or the beginning, so it's right here in the middle. You should label it O for origin. You are also asked to label the quadrants. Quadrants are the different sections of the coordinate plane. And in order to understand and help remember how to label the quadrants, you can draw a giant C on the coordinate plane. Where you first started writing that C is going to be quadrant 1. Where you went second is 2, then 3, then 4. So think of C as in the coordinate plane. The last part of question 1 is asking you to figure out what quadrant these different points would be in. For example, 4, -5, if I went to plot that, I would have to go to the right 4 from the origin, and then down to -5. So it'd be right here, and that would be quadrant 4. The second point, you'd have to go to the left to -8 and then up 2. That would be part of quadrant 2. For the third one, you'd have to go to the right 5 and up 2, and that would be in quadrant 1. And for the last one, you'd have to go to the left 3 to -3 and then down to -3. Oops, sorry. And it would be located in quadrant 3. Question 2 gives you 2 points and asks you to find the slope. In order to find the slope, you're going to subtract the y's over subtracting the x's. So this is going to be a fraction. Another way you might hear me say this later in one of the videos is the change of y over the change of x. So we're going to remember that this is xy, xy. So we're going to subtract the y's first. 2 minus 15 over subtracting the x's. 7 minus 6. 2 minus 15 is -13. 7 minus 6 is 1. I can simplify -13 over 1 to just -13. So my slope, and with slope we usually label it m, equals -13. Alright, question 3 we're going to answer in the same way. So we're going to subtract the y's, 6 minus 12, over subtracting the x's, -4 minus 10. 6 minus 12 is -6. -4 minus 10 is the same thing as plus a -10. We can always add the opposite when we're subtracting. That tells me -4 plus -10 is -14. Now I have two negatives here and they're being divided, so that's going to equal a positive. And I can simplify this fraction by dividing both the top and bottom by 2. So my answer will be 3 over 7. Again, m is what we use to label slope. M equals 3/7. For question 4, we're going to be finding the slope using a table. So the way I like to find slope using a table is to figure out what is the change to get from 8 to 12 and 12 to 16. You'll notice both times you're adding 4. How are our x's changing? Well, to get from 0 to 1, you're adding 1. 1 to 2, you're adding 1. So slope is equal to the change of y over the change of x. I mentioned that at the start of question 2. So my change in y was 4. My change of x was 1. So my slope can be simplified to just 4. So m equals 4. Again, we're going to do the same thing here. What do I have to do to get from 9 to 6? Subtract 3. 6 to 3, again, you're subtracting 3. To get from negative 10 to 0, we have to add 10. Same thing from 0 to 10. So my change of y is negative 3 over my change of x is 10. I can't simplify that, so I'm just going to write m equals negative 3/10. Question 6 is going to be the last question on this video. To access the other questions, you'll have to open up one of the other videos. I ask you to sketch a graph with a positive slope, negative slope, zero slope, and undefined slope. So the first one I'm going to do is an example of a positive slope. So a positive slope is going to show that the line is climbing, so going up the hill. So that is going to be positive. And just the opposite of that, a negative slope is going to decline as it moves from left to right. That is an example of a negative slope. A zero slope means that the line is not changing at all. So it is actually a horizontal line that has a slope of 0. And the last one, to be undefined, will be a vertical line. Let's pretend that all my lines are perfectly straight. So a vertical line has a slope that is undefined. Thanks for watching. I hope you do well in this section. Open up one of the other videos if you need further help.